Grabs Racing. Today I'm going to try and go over boost control in the Megasquirt and how I'm specifically using it. There are a couple of different strategies depending on how you set it up and how many solenoids you have to control your boost with. We're going to go over a dome control, which is what I use, and I'm going to try and cover a couple of the things that I talk about in some of my other videos so that it makes a little more sense. The first thing we need to get out of the way is in the Megasquirt, they usually do things on kPa, which stands for kilopascal, and there's a conversion for kPa to PSI. And this is just something I picked up on the internet here. You can kind of look over. So in the Megasquirt, there are a couple of different things we got to set up. Well, first let's go over this. To control the boost, we need to control how fast the turbine's spinning. The faster the turbine spins, the more air you're going to get in your cold side. So how do we do that? How do we control the speed of this? We do that with the wastegate. And the wastegate is just a little valve here in the exhaust that can bleed off some pressure and speed up or slow down how fast your turbine's spinning. And the wastegate's made up of a little bowl down here that has a valve in it that moves up and down. And there's a diaphragm here with a spring on top. And the spring, you can get different ratings for springs, 10 pounds, 4 pounds. I believe the one in my car is a 4-pound spring. And then you can add air via, or air or CO2 via a little port here to help the spring. So if you have a 4-pound spring, you put 6 pounds of air in here. Let's say the blue is the air and it pushes against the diaphragm and helps the spring. You could have 10 pounds over here. Maybe would be your goal if you had a 4-pound spring plus 6 pounds of air in here. And so manual way is to just have some kind of little. Usually it's a little regulator you can turn up or down and add air or decrease air depending on how much boost you want to run. We're going to do everything electronically, and the Megasquirt's going to control that. It's going to know how much air is in here with a pressure sensor, just kind of like a map sensor. I use a screw-in AEM 100 PSI map sensor screwed in here. And then you have your air source, which mine is just a little compressor, a 1-gallon air tank with a compressor. And then you have 2 solenoids that the Megasquirt controls. One fuels and one dumps. And it'll just pulse the fuel to fill up to whatever your target pressure in this section, which the top of the wastegate is what we call the dome. And a lot of the Megasquirt videos and stuff, you'll hear me talking about how much pressure in the dome, and that's how much extra air we're adding to the spring here. And so it fills with the fill valve, and then if you need to come back down, there's a valve here that'll dump it out to atmosphere. And there are a couple of places in the Megasquirt that we care about. The launch, we need to have a specific launch RPM and boost. And then after we let go, we have basically a table here that will say TPS up one side, RPM across the top. And so at 50% throttle and 30,000 RPM, we would want 300 kPa on top of our wastegate, or added to our spring. And then at 100 and 6,000 RPM, we would want 300. And maybe down here at a lower one at like 0% TPS and 1,000 RPM, we would just want 100 kPa. And it's kind of weird. You kind of got to subtract 14.5 for the atmosphere. So 100 kPa really means 0. There's no extra added pressure here. So at 100 kPa, our turbo would just, our wastegate would basically be running on spring only. So we would get 4 pounds. You can't have no pressure because you'll always have the spring there. So just keep in mind that 100 kPa means no added air on top of this spring. probably not good enough to describe to you the difference, why they got to subtract the atmosphere. 14.5 is what the standard atmosphere is. And you just subtract that because that's always there. So 100 gets us no added pressure. So we'll look over here in the, oops, let me change my view here. It's options, preferences, dash only mode. Yes. Load the tune. Desktop Warner Blast 3. Alright, so this table choice, big boost, boost control target table. And how I run mine, I only run 2 different boost settings. I only mess with 2 different places. The first one is the launch. So here I'm launching at 160 kPa, and then after I launch it immediately goes to 310, and everywhere in my whole table you can see here I have set to 310. So how I use it is I turn my launch up and down here, and then I turn how much boost I want to make in the run up and down here. And there's one more place that we play with, and that's boost delay. Sometimes we'll put a little bit of a ramp here. Instead of going in here and editing 310 down to 200 or 280 or something here over the RPM, we'll just kind of put a curve on it, how much percentage we want, and kind of soften out the launch. Now, let's look at the log that backs this up. So 310, and I said I had a 4-pound spring before, and then 160. So what does 160 get us for a launch boost? You can see here, this popping back and forth is the timing retarding back down to 0 and back to hold me at 4,500 RPM. And then here's where I let go of the trans brake, this red line. So the green is the TPS. I'm at 100% throttle. My RPMs are in white, and this pink line is the boost. So it comes up, and we're targeting 160. So 160 gets me about 9 PSI. That's going to be about a 9-pound launch. No problem. And so 310 is max boost. After we let go, the RPMs come up, and you see the boost skyrocket off. And it levels out here about, it climbs a little ways, and then out here in high gear, it levels off about 29 pounds, 28 bouncing up, maybe creeping to 29. So 310 is about 28, 29 pounds. And that's with the 4-pound spring. So you kind of got to do a little correlation in your KPAs to what your boost is going to be with your spring and everything. But when I say let's put 160 on the dome to launch with, that's what I mean. How much KPA we're putting in here to help the spring out. And I say, however much, 310 on the dome overall, how much boost overall we're running, we're putting 310 KPA in here. And that's probably about it. Those are just those 2 simple ways that I use the dome control in Megasquirt. And what dome control is just controlling the amount of air in the dome of the wastegate. And you drop it down to launch at a specific boost, and then you let it ramp back in. And if you want to play with slowing down the ramp, you use the boost delay. Anyhow, like and subscribe. Let me know if you got any questions.